Hello, you guys. Luxira Moon Goddess. And today we are going to be discussing see the good within the bad. So, what do I mean by this? Let's get into it. So, what do I mean when I say see the good within the bad? You may have been someone, and I'm someone who's gone through it as well, who's gone through bad experiences, bad things may happen to you, bad things may happen throughout your life. But with that being said, don't let those bad things dictate your life. You have to get to a point where you can see the good within the bad. So, what do I mean by this? I mean exactly what it means. See the good within the bad. Even though you may have gone through bad experiences, bad things, it's not to say that you deserve to go through those bad things, but was there something beneficial that came through the bad that you went through? Did you learn something from those bad experiences? I personally myself with because I actually I grew up with alcoholic parents, so there was bad times that happened. I have bad memories, but I see them as learning opportunities. So that's one of the benefits. That's one of the things that you can do with your bad experiences. See them as learning opportunities. See them as learning opportunities. What did you learn from that bad experience? Did you learn something from that experience? Personally, for me, growing up with alcoholic parents, I learned the things. First of all, I learned what not to do to my children with some of the things that my parents did growing up. But it also taught me, it made me realize certain things like, oh, well, if I didn't have, these types of parents, if I didn't go through this, sometimes when you go through hardship, it makes you a lot stronger than other people. And I personally, for me, with the things that I went through growing up, I do feel like it's made me stronger than other people because I went through hardship as a child, but I survived it. I survived the things, the terrible things, the bad things that I went through. So, with that being said, you have to, and really this is a form of transmutation. We talk about transmutation on this channel. And transmutation, it's just changing something. Transmutation, from something that's bad, see it as something good. Use transmutation. Don't just let bad experiences or bad memories dictate your life. Don't let it dictate you. Don't let it define you because you're more than the bad memories. You're more than the bad things that you've gone through. What did you really learn from these bad experiences? And don't just sit and think that it's nothing because you went through these things. Depending on what you went through, whether it's abuse, some type of trauma, or what have you have to have learned something. Really reflect on it. What did you learn? What was the outcome of those experiences? Don't just see it as, something bad. Because if you really think about it, there's something that's to be learned from the things that you went through. Use transmutation. See the good within the bad. And so what do I mean by this now that we're talking about it as the topic of the video? There has to be some sort of benefit. You don't want to let it be like, oh, well, I grew up with terrible parents. They abused me and they took away the best years of my life. They were abusive. They were mean. Da 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 da. We don't want to sit in victim mentality. Don't just sit as a victim because when you think about it, especially if they were very abusive, if somebody was very abusive, very narcissistic, very sadistic, they want you to be a victim. They want you to sit and stay as a victim. You have to show them that you're not a victim. You don't want to just be the victim. See it, there's something that you can learn. You have to turn it into something beneficial. Don't just see it as something bad. What was the benefit? What is something that you learned from this? See the good within the bad that you went through. Because if you just sit in victim mentality, you're going to stay stuck. And I'm talking about it from personal experience. You don't want to sit and just think that you're the victim. Because that just keeps you stuck. It keeps you bitter. It keeps you resentful. It keeps you sad. And it keeps you thinking about the people who put you through hell. You don't want to be still thinking about those people 10, 20, 30 years down the line. You don't want to stay stuck thinking of those people. because that's what they want you to do. They want you to stay stuck. Meanwhile, you're still thinking about these people, whoever it is, whether it's parents, a brother, a sister, maybe some coworkers, whoever it is. And you're staying stuck, still thinking about these people who put you through hell 10, 20, 30 years down the line. Meanwhile, they don't even remember you. They're not even thinking of you like that. That's not how you want to spend your life. You don't want to be sitting thinking that these people that put you through hell, you don't want to be still thinking through them. Those people who put you through hell, those people who abused you, who mistreated you, they don't even deserve your mental space in your mind. So you're sitting thinking of these people, still thinking of them, and they're not even thinking of you. That's giving them power. That's still, after all these years, that's giving them the power. Don't give them the power. You don't want to give them any power. They shouldn't have any power over you. Especially after years have passed, years past the abuse, years past the trauma. You shouldn't be still thinking of them. So, with that being said, can you see the good within the bad that happened to you? And don't just sit and believe that there's nothing beneficial, that there was nothing good that came through you. Because there has to be some benefit. And I can say through personal experiences, I've learned from my bad experiences. Because it taught me, oh, well, even though I had, alcoholic, abusive parents, it showed me how I don't want to be as a parent myself. It showed me the wrong things to do with my children. Boom, there you go. You see the benefit of the abuse, the benefit of the things that you've gone through. That is transmutation at work. That is transmutation showing you that there is good within the bad. Don't just sit and believe that, oh, well, there's nothing good that happened. It was really bad. I was abused and I was mistreated. And, I just feel so bad. I feel terrible and I don't know how to get over it. This is a way, I'm telling you, I'm teaching you that this transmutation, this is a way to get through it. See the good within the bad. Don't just see it as a bad situation. Don't just see it as abuse. Don't just see it as trauma. What was something that you learned from this abuse? What is something beneficial that happened through this abuse? If you didn't go through this abuse, would you have grown so much? Would you have matured so much? Would you have learned with the knowledge that you have now that you've learned? Would you still have it? This is the type of thinking that I'm trying to teach you guys. See some benefit into the bad that you went to. And when you transmute it, when you use transmutation, you're going to be like, oh, you know what? It was a bad situation. It was a terrible situation that I didn't deserve to go through. But if this didn't happen, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have learned what I've learned today if this didn't happen to you. That is seeing the good within the bad. You have to see there has to be some type of benefit. And when you think like this, and then moving forward with bad things that happen to you, you're going to realize you're going to start to be able to do this automatically. That's what you want. You want this to happen automatically. You don't just want to keep having bad things happen to you and then just be like, oh, something terrible happened to me. This is something negative. It happened to me. I don't understand why these bad things keep happening to me. You don't want to be one of those people who just stay stuck on stupid. You want to see the good within the bad. And I'm telling you this for a reason. When you use this type of transmutation, you're not going to be able, you're not going to sit in victim mentality. Because you can see the good. You can see the benefit. You can realize, oh, I don't have to be a victim. I don't have to remain as a victim. Because I'm able to see the benefit through this negative situation. I can see the benefit of what I've gone through. So, with that being said, when something bad happens to you, don't just sit there and see it as a negative situation. And it may take you a while. You may not realize the benefit right immediately after it happens. Usually it may take some time after that negative situation, after that bad things happen to you. It's going to take some time for you to realize the benefit and the good of that situation. So, you may not recognize it automatically. But you're going to realize it at some point. You're going to realize, oh, this is what I've learned from that situation. And since I learned, this from that situation, I don't have to repeat the same mistake again because this is what I've learned. This is what I've learned through going through that trauma. This is what I've learned from going through those negative experiences. And so, you want to get in the habit of doing this. It keeps you from being a victim. You don't want to just sit and stay a victim. See the good within the bad. And once you do this, you're going to be learning so much from your negative experiences. Because I've taught this to myself, and I've realized, oh, well, even though I have negative experiences, even though I have bad things that happen to me, I see it as learning opportunities. And I have learned, with this type of thinking, I've learned so much. I've learned so much from my negative experiences. And so even now when bad things happen, I don't feel as regretful. I don't feel like, I'm bitter because, oh, this happened to me and I was mistreated. I was abused by my parents and they shouldn't have been alcoholics. They shouldn't have been drinking. They shouldn't have done this to me. I don't feel like that anymore because I've learned so much with with the things that I've gone through. I've honestly learned so much with the bad experiences, with the bad memories that happened to me. So, with that being said, do not just sit and let bad experiences overtake you. Do not let bad experiences determine your self-worth, determine who you are. See it, use transmutation. See the good within the bad. Because there's something beneficial that you're overlooking. There's something beneficial that happened with some of those bad things that happened to you. You have to train yourself. And again, it may not be something immediate, but over time you're going to realize, oh, this is the benefit of what happened to me. This is what I learned through this experience. I've learned this. I don't have to make the same mistake again. And I can use this knowledge, to continue within my future. So, with that being said, that is all I have for this one. And I will check you guys later in the next one. Bye bye.